Today, let's talk about how good enough can be better than perfect.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you very much for listening today. So, today, we're talking about how good enough can be better than perfect. And so, the thought is, Maurice, how can that be? Is that an option? All of us are striving for perfection, aren't we? Well, back in the day, you're dating someone, you're courting someone, you want to be the perfect match, right? When we're looking into our careers and things like that, when we look for the job and everything else, we use the term like that is just a perfect match. That is a perfect situation. Even when we look into sports and we think that there are certain situations where they have to be perfect or have the appearance of being perfect. So unfortunately, we don't leave the space for where things can be good enough and where it has the option to even be better than being perfect. So, here is my view on perfection versus good enough and how the idea of that will never work intertwines. As I first started off, I stated how being in a relationship, you think that you need to be perfect. And I felt some type of way because my girlfriend at the time, being my wife now, stated to me that I was not perfect, but I was good enough. That tore me apart. I felt some type of way. And in my mind, because I wanted to stay with her, I wanted to be with her, we end up getting married or whatever, and I ultimately continued to have that feeling of wanting to be the perfect mate, the perfect person for her. Again, she still kept saying it was good enough. Now, here is the thought of just being good enough. And i.e. the word just, because a lot of us will use that, just good enough. Meaning you just got over the line of being okay. You just got to a point of being accepted. Now, here's what happened with being good enough versus perfect. Perfect, I have it made. Perfect, I don't have to do anything else. Perfect, I don't have to work any harder. Perfect, I don't have to study. I don't have to court. I don't have to speak. I don't have to communicate. I don't have to do any work because I am perfect in this situation. Here's what happens when you're good enough. You're good enough to make the team, right? You're good enough to, go out with me. You're good enough to get the job. But what happens is that now, if the right person is in that situation, they're going to put in the time, the dedication to make things better and to strive for, as we spoke about before, excellence. See, if you're perfect, there's nothing wrong with you. If you're good enough, you are at least acknowledging there is room for improvement. And here is the reality. And this is where it comes to any relationship. See, if I was the perfect person, and let's say, now we had gotten married in 2000, the year 2000. It is now 2025. If I was perfect in 2000, I would not be perfect in 2025. So that means things have changed, because if I would have stayed the same and she continued to grow, there's no way we would be on the same page. We might not even be in the same book. For some of us, we might not even be in the same library. So if someone says you're good enough, that leaves the door open for you. If you're good enough, that means you should take the time to work just a little harder. Put in just a little bit more effort. And analyze yourself and the situation, and understand that there can become a level that's above perfect. Well, Maurice, what is that word? What's above perfect? I don't think that there's anything above perfect. The word quote unquote perfect. There's only thing one perfect to me is God. All of us are a work in progress. But unfortunately, we constantly are looking for that word perfect. We're looking for validation. We're looking for acceptance, and whatever it is. And sometimes that word, those two words, good enough, is not acceptable in the situation. We need to have a perfect situation. And I don't believe that some of us are hungry enough. Continue to put in the work. That's why we're looking for the perfect opportunity, so we don't have to work. Because if it feels perfect, that means all of your skills, all of your know-how, all of that, it's the perfect situation. So you, in the interim, right, all that work and energy will come natural. But now here comes a situation, and I'm going to turn it a little bit, from dating to maybe in a business. It's still the same idea for both. What happens to innovation? Because if you're perfect, you don't innovate. You don't start to explore what the other options are, what the possibilities are. We need to continue to stay in a place of innovation, exploration, right? So that way we can continue to push the boundaries, finding something new, even though there's nothing new underneath the sun, but there can be the same idea with some tweaks, because you are the one that controlled that. Each and every one of us could sit down and on a piece of construction paper, draw a house. Some of us are not going to draw a house that's recognizable. Some of us will draw what we would consider the perfect looking house that came out of AutoCAD or something like that. But the ones that drew a house that where it does not look like a house per se, has the opportunity, if they wanted to work hard enough, to change the mindset of the individual that's perceiving your drawing. Because sometimes the eyes in the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or you put forth the effort to say, I am going to take an art class. I am going to literally draw out the lines that I see in my head, or whatever it might be. Each of us has that opportunity to take our option at that moment and to make it better. So as long as we think that we are perfect, there's no room to grow.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?